All right, and we're back. Last time we did pickups for thirst and pickups for hunger, so that he could fill back up his hunger and thirst by finding items and stuff and crafting stuff. But we're going to refine those systems. But before we do, let's expand this thirst one, because I would think in a survival game you would be able to pick up like a canteen of some sort. You would be able to pick up like a canteen, and you would be able to fill that up with water. So let's make that this episode, because I think that'll be cool. So first things first is get a model of a canteen. If you don't have one, you can model one yourself. It's just a sphere. Here's what mine looks like. Let me show you. I just took a picture here and I modeled that. Um, so this is my little canteen. Okay, anyways, make a canteen or download one and put it into your game. Um, and if you don't have a canteen, you can use a placeholder like a sphere. But anyways, this is what we're going to do. In your drink folder that we made before where it has the drink master, what we're going to do is right click and make another folder called Canteen. And put everything that has to do with your canteen in that folder. That way, we won't ever get confused. Now, in the canteen folder, you need a blueprint class, and it's going to be an actor, and we can call it canteen underscore BP. Now, for the canteen, I don't want it to have weight, because that will make it mad complicated. Then I'll have to say how much the water weighs and all this extra stuff. So the canteen is going to be weightless, okay? But for the canteen, we need to double click into it, and we need to add a static mesh. And this is going to be the actual canteen. And for the static mesh on the right-hand side, switch your canteen that you made or that you downloaded. Mine's a little bit large. The way that you can see how big it is you can put it right in the game. So here, for the blueprint, the BP that we just made, you see it's too large for me. So let's shrink it down a bit. So open up the blueprint, and you can actually do it like this so you can see it shrink down. So when you come over here, you click it, you want to make the size of it go down a bit, and then you shrink it down to the size that you need. And that's about good for me right there, as you can see at his foot. All right. The next thing that we need to add is a couple things here. So we will add a sphere trace or sphere collision. So right click, sphere collision, and put that around the canteen. Now, this canteen could have been a master pickup item. The reason why we don't have to is because this is going to be a standalone item in my game. It's going to be like something that you get one time. You can't stack it. You find it once as like a tool that's a permanent tool. So that's how I'm making this. So in that case, we have to go up to the class settings. And on the right-hand side, implemented interfaces. Let's find the one that we created called, it should be called interface. Interaction interface right there. And let's add that to this. So now that we've got that here, we can go to the interact function for it and just type in interact. So go to the blueprint for this canteen and type in interact. And we want the event to interact. And when the character does interact with it, then we need to set some variables for the character. So before we do that, let's actually pull up the character. So third person blueprints, third person character. Let's add a variable here. All right, let's add two variables. One variable is going to be called has canteen, and the other variable is going to be called canteen amount. And this canteen amount, we're going to put it as a float. Compile and save. All right. So when the character interacts with this canteen, we're going to first cast a third person character. For the object, get player character. Then for the as third person character, we want to get has or set has canteen. So set has canteen to true. Then you can destroy the actor, to be honest. Destroy actor. Now, the reason why we didn't put anything in between is because we don't have anything else to do. But what we should do is add the canteen to the player's hip. So go to your third person character and click on the mesh, and we're going to add a static mesh. And for the static mesh, we're going to say Canteen. And on the right hand side again, find your Canteen, bring it in. Now what we're going to do is we're going to attach it to his hip. So first, size it down the size that you want it to be. And again, I'm going to make mine small enough to fit on his hip, like that. Then we're going to, on the parent socket, attach it to somewhere. Like for me, I'm going to do his hips. So now all I got to do is pause the animation, click on my mesh over here, pause the animation, take this Canteen, rotate it the correct way, and then move it to where I need it to be. And I think that could still be rotated this way in a Z, like that. And that's still rather large, in my opinion. It could be a little bit smaller than that. Like that. Okay, perfect. Compile and save. And on the right-hand side, what you need to do is make it invisible. So come down here to visibility and click it off. Compile and save. And then event graph. Let's go back here. And let's just make a custom event. So type in custom event, show Canteen. Show Canteen. Now this will be updated once we update our HUD, because we're going to add our HUD to this as well. But anyways, in this one, all we need to do is get this Canteen that we just made for the character, set the visibility to true, and that's it. I'm gonna caption it, show Canteen, then I'll compile and save. All right, and then next what we need to do is go back to your Canteen, and in between, so after the character picks up the Canteen, we're gonna set it to has Canteen. Then we're gonna pull off the character and say show Canteen, that function we just made, plug that in, and then destroy actor. Now, because you're only going to be able to find one of these in my world, it'll only work one time. So let's see what happens here, right? You walk over to the Canteen. We need to give it a name and whatnot. But when he does the eat thing, it appears on his hip. Good. Now he's got water on his hip. So next is let's go ahead and make the Canteen have the name and all that stuff, just like the master pickup item. So here in the Canteen, when the player overlaps the sphere, all you need to do is actually go to your master pickup item. So let's go to our master pickup item, and the overlap code is right here. So just copy it, both for the overlap and the end overlap, and we're going to paste it right here in the Canteen, because it's going to work out. The only thing that's not going to work out is these right here, this widget and the name. So what we have to do is we'll have to give it a widget, just like the master pickup item. So we'll give it a widget, in the same widget, 100 by 20. So that's going to be item name widget. So to the Canteen itself, I'm going to add a widget. And on the right-hand side, the actual widget class, I'm going to put item name, op, and then I'm going to put 100 by 20 as the draw size. Then in my viewport, I won't be able to see anything until I like if you see any variables that you need to recreate, like this one, name, just right click it and create variable name. And now on my left hand side in the Canteen, I have a variable called name, which this one's not going to change at all. So I'm going to type it in Canteen. Boom. So that will be the name here. We'll plug it into everything here. So everything looks good. So now what will happen is in our viewport, you can see your widget. And for me, I want my text to be a little bit smaller. So I'm going to adjust it just like that. and compile and save. Now, when you walk into your canteen, you should be able to see the title of the canteen before you pick it up. Yep, there it goes right there. Only thing I didn't do is I didn't set that widget to screen. So I'm gonna go back into my canteen real quick, and instead of world, I'm gonna set it to screen, compile, and save. Bet. Now that's good. So once we do pick it up, we're gonna add it to our HUD, and then you'll be able to get water. So real quick, let's handle the water part of it. So once you do have the canteen, so if canteen is true, so drag off of here. Then we need to do something. So that's the start of the new code that we're going to do. Compile and save. Let's think about what we're going to do. We're going to be able to go into some kind of water and fill up our canteen. Okay. So first thing we need to do is create some water. So I'm going to make a little pool here. How will we do that, right? Let's just get a, here, let's just do this. Duplicate one of these things like this. Bring it down here, around here, down, down. This can move out the way. And so can this. Okay, then I'll take another duplicate over here and drag it in. This one's gonna be a little bit smaller, so I'll size it down a bit. Definitely this way and definitely this way. And this time I can just put it down into this right in the middle there. And what I'm gonna do is click on the first mesh, and then I'm gonna shift click on the second mesh. Now they're both selected, I can go to modeling mode, and I can do something called Boolean. So go over here where it says model, and then press Boolean. And now it just cut out my pool. And if it's not in the right section right there, you can actually move it over here, move it where it needs to be. Press accept, and now I have a little pool area or a place for water. Now, in order to make the water, all I need to do is grab a plane, but I'm going to make it its own blueprint. So we need to make this water a blueprint. So let's go here to assets, right click, make a new folder, and we're going to call it water. Right click, blueprint class, actor, water underscore BP. All right, once you got your blueprint for that, all you need to do is add a static mesh, which is going to be a plane. So you can just come here, it says plane. Then add the water to that plane, the one that we like. So water, ocean for me. Then add a box collision. And you want the box collision to cover the whole plane. So what we're going to do is extend it, not scale it. We'll extend it in the X and extend it in the Y. Now it covers the whole thing, and you want to make sure it's right at the surface too. So there we go. Compile and save. Now, when you drag this water blueprint into your level, you can really just right click this, replace selected actor with water blueprint. And now that's your water blueprint right there. Believe it or not, it still says plane and everything, but if you click on the blueprint, open the blueprint, you're going to get your water blueprint. Therefore, we can write the code for this. So real quick, let's go ahead and delete everything, drag in the box, or not even, click on the box on the right hand side. On component, begin overlap, other actor, third person actor, third person character. Now, when the third person character overlaps the water, we need to tell the character that he's in water. So let's make a variable called in water. In water. And this should just be a Boolean. Change that to a Boolean. Boom. All right, now that he's in the water, let's put this here, get in water, and put a branch here. So if he is in the water, true, and he does have the canteen, true, Then we're going to make it fill up the canteen. So back on the water, real quick, let's finish this off. Let's say drag off the third person character and say set in water to true. And then when he ends overlapping the box, then we're going to set it to false. You just copy everything. Copy, paste, other actor, false. Now, real quick, we can print string to test it out real quick. In water, copy, paste, and we're going to just say out of water for this one. Let's just test and see if this water works. Out of water. Compile, save. Bop, 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 bop. Okay, what we didn't do is make the water no collision. So my water blueprint, I'm going to go to the plane. I'm going to come over here on the right-hand side. And I'm going to say for the collision of the mesh, overlap all, compile, and save. You know why this is not working? It's because I didn't change it. So on the right-hand side, it changed it into its own Boolean instance. So what I had to do is enable nanite. I could do that, but more importantly is use complex as simple, save, and now I'll probably be able to get in there. But perfect. Now we can get in the water, but it keeps on making us go out of the water. So what I'm going to do for that, to fix that, is I'm going to make the box extend down in the Z. So the extent of the Z, put it down like that, or put it up, and then move it down like this. In water, in and out of the water. Yeah, so you have to probably play with yours till you get it right. But once he's in the water, now we can fill up the canteen. And we're going to make functions real quick to make the canteen full, or whatever. All right, so when you're in the water and you have the canteen, then you're able to fill it up. I'm going to say, let's just put one function up here. The canteen is full. So, custom event in your character. And we're going to call this one fill canteen. Your canteen by default is at 0, canteen amount. And this is what we're going to be playing with. So you need to drag this off and get it set. So first of all, if they're in the water and they have the canteen, then we're going to set the canteen to, well, we're going to set this to 100. Okay, so if they're in the water and they have the canteen amount goes to 100. Simple as that. Now we can kind of put it on our HUD real quick to see what it really is. So go to your items HUD here where it says torches. We could copy, paste. So now we got this, and we're going to call it canteen amount. And then right beside it, we could put a number. So we're going to put a text block right beside it. For this text block, we're going to bind it. So create a binding, cast your third person character, get player character. Okay. And now all we got to do is get that canteen amount and plug that in. Bop. Just so we can see the number there. All right. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, we weren't using the items HUD anymore. I'm sorry. We had moved everything to a different HUD, didn't we? Damn it. Damn it. Do it to this one then. So just do the canteen part to this. Canteen amount. And move it out like that. Bop, bop. And again, with the text block, add a text block right beside it. Make sure it's anchored to the right. And we need to create a binding. This one, same thing we just did. So you can go back to your here, Just copy and paste. Copy and paste. All right, perfect. Now we're finished. For real, I promise we're finished this time. Put that here, plug the pink into the pink, compile and save. Now let's test it out real quick. When we start Canteen amount is 0. If we get in the water though, it should be 0 still, even though we're in the water. But if we pick up the Canteen first, now we get in the water. We didn't call that function, sorry. That's the last thing we need to do. So in the water, we need to call that set Canteen function. So the one we just made in our third person character, this function right here, fill Canteen, when you go into the water here, let's go ahead and from here, say fill Canteen. There we go. Now everything will work perfectly and we're really done with the video. I promise you now. All right, so go pick up your Canteen, jump in the water, bop. Canteen now is at 100. Perfect, and we'll be able to use that in the coming episode. One thing that we need to fix real quick though, on the Canteen, if you open it up, the Canteen blueprint itself, and you look at the sphere, over here, it says, set visibility. On our widget, we need to make sure that visibility is invisible. So visibility, uncheck it, and then you're done. So that's all I wanted to show you guys in this episode is how to make a Canteen. In the next episode, we're going to be able to use this Canteen to store water. Since we have water, we'll be able to walk around the world and drink water to restore our thirst. So you won't always have to be beside a water source or a drink source to have water. You might be able to go to the wilderness and still be able to survive. And that's what this is about. Survival, baby. So catch me again in the next one. Peace.
Run to the money, on my feet, don't fail. The DA and the judge, on the do they best to jail. I done turned it all.